This is your home girl, Dr. Debby Goodnews. I am right here. Join me. I'm hosting a very special, beautiful lady tonight. Don't doubt me because I'll bring her here. You will see how gorgeous, drip down gorgeous. There are people that will be just gorgeous, but they are not really, really gorgeous inside. What I call being gorgeous is when you're gorgeous inside, not your physical beauty look that we all just call gorgeous. And now, when you're gorgeous inside, you know what I mean? When you're gorgeous inside and now physically beautifully gorgeous, oh my goodness, that is double beauty, double gorgeousness. That is whom this lady is. She's both gorgeous inside and gorgeous outside. So we are hosting a very special lady tonight. Her name is Satya. So please stay here and don't go nowhere. Tell anybody calling you that you're busy right now. Please. Tell a friend to tell a friend, and do me a favor, share this live so that other people will join. We have a very important message to share with you all tonight. I'm going to go ahead to bring this lady. Once again, this is The Legend Show, and hosting tonight is Dr. Debby Goodnews Silas, and I am the CEO for Debby Classic Magazine. Just in case if you don't know, so you will know, I am fully introducing everything. So this lady, she is the owner of Style of Survival magazine, and she is a very incredible person. So once I bring her in, I will introduce who she is and what she has been doing and why we're hosting her tonight. Stay tuned.
Hello.
I told you. What's up? How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm very happy to see
Yes.
your lovely face tonight.
Oh, likewise. Thank you for having me on tonight.
I'm very happy. Like I was introducing, I already told them your name. If you don't mind, please go just reintroduce yourself so everybody will really know who you are.
Absolutely. Good evening, everybody, and thank you for joining us. My name is Sathya Calendar. I am the CEO and founder of Scars of Survival magazine and Scars of Survival Incorporated.
So moving forward, honey, I would like you to share with us tonight your journey so far, because you've been doing big things. This lady that you're looking at here is the first lady to publish and to introduce a magazine like the Scars of Survival magazine. So moving forward, you're going to hear more about this magazine, what this magazine is about. And this lady is the first globally, not just in one country, globally, the first to publish a magazine like that. Please, I want you to share with us your story about this magazine.
Absolutely. So it was June 2020 when we actually, when it was launched. And what led me to launch the magazine was realizing that in the domestic violence community, we didn't have a platform to share our stories. A lot of us in that situation become quiet because we feel like we have no place to go. We have no place to go to share our story, nobody to trust. So I knew we needed a safe place to do so. And that's how I launched Scars of Survival magazine.
Before I ask any other question, first of all, can you tell us why you tagged this magazine name Scars of Survival?
The reason why I chose that name, actually, it came from Scars of Survival Incorporated, which is my nonprofit organization. I found that in 2016. The name actually, when you think about all the things that we in general have survived and overcame, we consider those scars, right? When you think about a scar, you get bruised or you get wounded, right?
Absolutely.
When you get that bruise or that wound, after you heal, it turns into what? A scar.
Mm-hmm.
Our scars then show us that we survived something. We survived that cut. We survived that bruise. We survived that abuse. All of it is scars. So that's how I came up with scars of survival.
Right. So, what actually led you into capturing the whole thing, visualizing the whole thing, and tagging its style of survival and the content of this magazine? What led you to introducing that particular brand specifically to help the public?
Well, I was a survivor of a 9-year domestic violence
Wow.
relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And that relationship almost took my life.
My goodness.
And during the whole journey of going through every type of abuse that there is to go through, I still found myself going back. So anytime he would say, I'm not going to do it anymore, I love you, I believed him and I stayed. But in my mind, I knew the right thing to do was to go, but I couldn't leave because this man was the person that I felt was all I had. I was in bondage, and I was in bondage from the way he manipulated me, brainwashed me, and controlled me. So I turned myself away from everybody and secluded myself because every time you turn around, it was nobody loved you, nobody cared. I'm the only thing for you. Nobody wants you. You have 5 children. I heard all of that, and I began believing it. It took away my self-esteem. So I literally felt like this man was all I had. So every time he would say, this is the last time, I'm not going to do it anymore, I believed him. I wanted the relationship to work out so badly, and I wanted him to change, that I stayed. And it wasn't until my children had started sleeping with a knife under their pillow, they had planned to do something to this man. And I said, somebody is going to go to jail. Somebody is not going to be here, all because of the decisions I made. This has to stop, and I need to leave. And I had a friend who eventually became my husband, who helped me out of that situation and got me and my children to a safe place. And when we got to that safe place, I never looked back. And so during that whole healing process, and after surviving and after healing and then overcoming, all of that led me to Scars of Survivor Incorporated, number 1, and the Scars of Survival magazine, because I felt like if I can survive and if I can heal and if I can overcome, then I know the next man or woman can too. And amongst that domestic violence community, we have several vessels. And if I can only be that one of those vessels to help the lives in that community, I wanted to do so. And that's what led me to launch the organization and then eventually launching Scars of Survival magazine.
Wow. It makes sense. That was huge.
Mm-hmm.
And very inspiring. In the society we live today, a lot of people are going through all kind of situations in their marriages, and they can't speak up. One of the reasons is who to trust. We don't know who to trust, who can protect your story and don't make it a public news. So people are expressing a lot of things in their mind, in their life, and taking wrong decisions, because if they had speaking up, if they have talked to someone, if they have shared their story, maybe someone would have rescued them from a good advice or a good position. And
Mm-hmm.
if people can come out to share their story, like platform like the one you instituted, it will
Mm-hmm.
be a good thing because people will learn from other people's stories and use it to make a good decision or make amendments, you know. I want you to please share. Is there any one or two stories that you can share apart from the one that you just shared now? Because I know uh, you have loads, dozens of different kind of stories that come your way every day. Like there are a lot. Can you please share one or two of it so we can learn from, so people can see part of the things we're talking about?
Yes, so I'm gonna bring up two stories. One of them is they're both domestic violence related. One is a story that unfortunately she didn't make it. And that's one of my best friends. She was in a domestic violence marriage, and she was married to her husband for 13 years. He was in the military. And for 13 years, she dealt with the different forms of abuse. She mentioned to him going to counseling, and he didn't want to go to counseling. And I'm not sure what actually triggered her to say enough was enough. But when she decided to say enough was enough, he then told her, okay, I'll go to counseling. But it was too late. She had already made up her mind. I've dealt with this for 13 years. I want out of this marriage. And that was her final decision. Well, that particular Friday that he took her life, she went to work. He had a restraining order against him, but he violated that restraining order. He went to her job and waited for her to get off work, followed her almost home, ran her off the side of the road into a ditch, and he got out the car. He went to the driver's seat and he shot my girlfriend 13 times. Okay? And then he got in the passenger seat and took his life. Now,
Yeah.
yes. And it was in the news. It happened in Virginia. But she was such a beautiful person who truly believed in God, but she was quiet. She did not share her story. She had nothing but sisters. She hid it for a very long time and would not speak up. And her thing was, I don't want him to lose his career in the army. So she became very quiet. It was like she had no voice. She would not speak up. And often I think if only she would have opened up and spoke to someone and let them know that this is what she was going through, she might have been here today. That is a situation where, it can work out a different way, and the survivor is not here anymore. And this is why it's important for us to, when we're in a situation like this is why it's important for us to find someone, whether it's an organization, a friend, a family member, a neighbor, somebody you can trust, right? To let them know
what you're going
I'm fearful of this situation I'm in and I need help out. Find someone that can have a voice if you feel you don't have a voice, so that you can get out of that situation safely. There's another young lady, I don't want to share her name, but she is on the cover of the magazine. Very inspiring story. She was in a domestic violence marriage, and he actually planned to take her life and his life too. The night that he came to their house to take her life and his life, he came to the property, he ran into her car with her in it, and he totaled the vehicle while she was in it.
Wow.
He then told her to get out the car and that he was going to take his life and hers too. And the comment she made to him was, "You won't be here, but I will." She said she didn't understand what that would look like, but he pulled the trigger in her mouth. And when he pulled the trigger in her mouth, it jammed. And she said all she remembered is pulling her trigger. And she shot him, of course, and killed him. And it wasn't until this happened 2 years ago. And she said to me, "Sathya, I felt like I didn't have a voice. I didn't know what my purpose was. And it took for me to speak with you, to share my story, to now know what my purpose is." She said, "And I will share my story until I can't share it anymore. I know what my purpose is." So we got to know that sharing our story is not just healing for us, but it's healing for the reader, and it's also healing for the listener. So we have to get to that point where we feel safe enough to do so. And when we open up, we'll feel a sense of relief and we'll feel free. And like that young lady said, she now knows what her purpose is. But it all goes back to, and I like to share this with anybody that's listening, even if you've been blessed to not have gone through any form of domestic violence or any type of domestic violence, you still need to be a listening ear if somebody comes to you and wants to let you know that this is what they're going through. The worst thing you can do is to shut that person down, or to tell that person it couldn't have been you or what you would have done. Because here's the thing, we don't know what we would do in a situation unless we actually was in that situation. So we need to learn how to stop telling people it couldn't be me. Because I'm sure that a lot of us who have gone through something, we felt that same thing. It couldn't have been me. But then we find ourselves in that situation and we do the opposite of what we said we wasn't going to do. So we need to stop telling people that. We need to be more of a listener, right? Have a listening ear and let a person let you know what they're going through, because you might be the first and last person that they're able to talk to, you know, and you being a listening ear will help that person to get to a safe haven. But if you start becoming judgmental and you shut down, you're only causing the problem to get worse. And some people find themselves stuck in that situation, that domestic situation, because they feel like they have nowhere to turn. Maybe they tried to tell somebody and that person became judgmental. So what have you done to that individual that's currently in that domestic situation? Now they don't trust nobody. Now they're in a box. Now they feel like, where am I going to go? Where am I going to turn? Who can I talk to? I might as well stay in it. So what he was telling me was right. He's all I really have, or she is all I really have. Now you got this person stuck in this situation and won't go anywhere. And sometimes, unfortunately, they end up losing their life. You see what I'm saying? It's very, very important. That's how important it is for us to be able to have that listening ear. And to be able to become educated about, even if you don't know, learn what domestic abuse is. Learn the different types of abuse. Learn how you can help someone to get to a safe haven. Get you the safe plan. Make sure you have a safe plan on you so that if you're in a store and somebody, you just never know. Sis, you just never know where you can be. You can be at work. You could be going to the grocery store. You could be at the laundromat. You can be shopping. You don't know what that next person that's walking in front of you, beside you, or in back of you is going through. And if you have the safety plan on you, here's something that I feel can help you. You just never know. But as long as you become judgmental and shut down, you're not doing that person any good whatsoever.
No. Can you share with us different kinds of abuse? Because most people are in abuse marriage, abuse relationship, they don't even know that there's a serious abuse relationship.
Absolutely, absolutely. So one of the types of abuse that is not talked about a lot in society. We know about physical because when you hear the news and people talk, the first thing they talk about is physical. But here's the key. Here's the thing to know. Physical abuse a lot of times is not the beginning of an abusive relationship. A lot of times it starts with a person controlling you, right? And then it becomes verbal. The verbal is the name calling. The verbal is the belittling you. That's the verbal. Calling you names, cursing you out, all of that.
Right.
That's verbal abuse. A lot of times that's how it starts. And because people are not very educated, they don't think that they're in an abusive relationship when that is going on. And so they sit there and they allow it to get worse. So then it becomes emotional, right? So the emotional is playing with your emotions, telling you, like he was telling me, I'm all you have. Nobody wants you, Then after it becomes emotional, now you got the physical. But if we can educate ourselves on the beginning stages of abuse, which is the control, the verbal, and the emotional, and the mental, then maybe people can okay, wait a minute. He's calling me names, or he's belittling me, or he's controlling me. I'm in an abusive situation. Let me get out before he becomes physical. See what I'm saying? But we're not educating enough on those beginning stages. So a lot of people end up staying and it becomes physical. Like I said, it gets worse. It doesn't get better. It gets worse. You got spiritual abuse, where the partner is continuously bringing you down and talking about your religion, or making you feel like because you believe in this, there's a problem. You got financial, where they're controlling your money. My situation, he was taking my money. I go to work, come home, he was taking the money. That is financial abuse. You got sexual abuse. So we know what sexual abuse is. And these are the different sexual abuse is where that is true. Sexual abuse is where somebody might be inappropriately touching you, or might be forcing you to have intercourse with them, or might be forcing you to do other things to them. I actually experienced the sexual abuse where...
Do you believe in sexual abuse in marriage or in
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes.
How does it?
So I actually experienced that with him during that 9-year relationship. He actually took the sex from me. So when I told him no, and let me just say this, no means no. No does not mean yes. You can be in a relationship and say no, and it's supposed to be respected as no. Just because you're married to somebody, just because you're in a relationship with somebody, does not mean that this person has the right that if you tell them no, they're allowed to take it anyway. See? And that's what happened to me.
African men don't believe that.
Oh, no. Listen here, brothers.
Believe.
Listen here, brothers.
You need
when a
to
woman
talk.
says no, it's no. No does not mean yes. No means no. She might have whatever reason for why she's not wanting to perform or wanting to be sexually active with you at that time. And you need to respect that, because that is her body, right? You need to respect when she says no. See, when I told him no, he took it. That's sexual abuse, because I told him no and he didn't listen to me. Pinned me down and he took it. I was in a relationship with him, in an abusive relationship with him. That is a sign of sexual abuse, and it's unacceptable. Just because you're in a relationship with somebody does not mean that here you go whenever you feel like it, even if I don't feel like it, like you can just do whatever you want to do. No, that's not the way it works. A person still needs to respect you, and if they say they love you, then they're gonna respect you, every bit of you. So just understand that it's not acceptable for your husband and your boyfriend just to take you if you say no. And no is no, period.
Sometimes women need to be educated get education for this abusive relationship, because most times we go through abusive relationship even without realizing that we're in abusive relationship. Because some men, they believe that once you're married to them, you got no right to telling them no, when to come to you or when not to come to you, because they believe that you are their right. And they will literally tell you, it is my right. I got married to you. You have no right to tell me when to take it and when not to take it. And guess what, Sathya? It is so bad that it's collected that maybe the man will have to start cheating on you, and maybe friends, even both families get to hear that the reason why the man will not listen is that the reason why I'm cheating on her is because she always deny me and don't give it to me when I want it. And he might even drive out and just go outside to get it or go do it. And the reason is because you said I am not interested now, or maybe you're angry over something which is not even being settled and you just want to jump over me. So it is believed that you don't have the right as a woman to say no. And guess what? Even your own family are judging you why he paid your bride price. So why are you saying no?
Oh wow!
People will
So
judge you
so
for
it's a
even saying
culture.
no.
So it's a
Hmm.
culture thing. It's a
So
culture
what
thing.
whenever he goes out, it is your fault, the woman, which is not right. Leave that culture out. It's not right.
That's right. That's right. It's so
It's
true.
not right. So most of us don't even realize what actually is called abuse in a marriage. Because
Mm-hmm.
most of us go through serious abuse in a marriage without realizing that we are in abusive marriage. But in Africa, it's a little different, because for we to get out of marriage, it must have driven to a life and death situation. Before friends,
Oh.
family, we now agree that, oh, you can't be there anymore. And this has led to a lot of horrible news. The woman
Mm-hmm.
being put to death as a result of enduring to remain, probably because of being called out. Maybe people will say she's in whore, she don't want to be in the marriage, everything will always be her fault. So it is before a woman would be found being right in marriage, she has really endured a lot. So when you talk of abusive marriage and enduring abusive marriage, I think we the Africans, we suffer more, because we are not much aware of, because probably because of cultural things, we're not much aware and informed of what abuse is, what should be our rights, what a man should do, and what he shouldn't do. And the men have culturally been molded into certain kind of level of right, which goes
Mm-hmm.
to their head against the woman. And it is not supposed to be like that. But I thank God that enlightenment is beginning to come out,
Mm-hmm.
that the man is beginning to know what is wrong and what is right. So where they shouldn't cross, and so, and informations like magazines like this and sharing with those kind of stories, a lot of people share their story, coming out to share what they're going through, because I tell you, many people are going through worse things, but because they don't share it, we don't know.
That's so true. It's absolutely true.
Exactly. Platforms like this, it helps women to know that I got you.
That's
What are
right.
you going through? Can you speak up so you can be alive?
Yes, absolutely.
So this is what you've been doing all this one, and I love that platform.
Thank you.
Again, people can share their story freely and use it to save someone, or use it to educate someone, or use it to educate themselves.
That's right.
Not literally telling you get out of there, but being self-aware of some education and knowledge or surrounding awareness or situation awareness, so that you will know how to act and what to do at the right time. I think that is the most important thing.
Yes, absolutely. And in every issue, there's a safety plan. So the safety plan takes the individual from point A all the way to point Z. So if they're trying to get out of that situation, that safety plan will help them. And it's in every single issue.
Absolutely.
The safety plan is very, very important. Like, I can't say it enough. I can't say it enough, sharing your story is mutual healing. And I use the word mutual because, again, it doesn't just help you to heal, but that reader or that listener, you don't know what they're going through. That's why I say mutual, because it's a mutual healing. And I want people to know that you're not alone. Don't ever think that you're alone, because there's always someone out there who is either going through the same thing or maybe not the same thing, but have gone through. You're not alone. Find you someone that you can trust and let them know, listen, I'm going through X, Y, and Z, and I need someone to help. Can you help me? I just got a call yesterday from a young lady. I talked to her maybe 6 months ago, and I helped her, get to a safe haven, and somehow she's back in another situation. And she called me yesterday and said, I need you. Can you please help me? I need you. See, so she reached out to someone that she knows she can trust to help her to get, where she needs to be. And it's okay. Sometimes it takes a couple of times. You might leave and go back and leave and go back. That happens sometimes. Not to everybody, but it does happen. But the important key here is you have to find someone that you can trust, and know that no type of domestic abuse is okay. None. When I say none is acceptable. Mm-hmm. Don't say, well, he's just calling me names. It's not a jest he's calling you names, because that just that you just said might end up leading to something worse. So while you're dealing with that verbal abuse, that's the time to recognize that it's verbal abuse, and make the decision to get yourself to a safe place. Because the words, the emotional, the verbal and mental can cause more damage than that physical. Because the verbal, mental, and emotional can carry you for years to come. Right? It can take years to heal from that. But that physical, that's something that you can heal from. You can, like, you get a scar, you get a cut. It don't take long to heal from that cut. But that calling you names and bringing you down and saying you nothing and all of these things, these harsh words and stuff, that has a long-term effect on people sometimes.
Right.
So I want people to know that even that's not okay.
That's not okay.
It's not acceptable. Don't think that because you're a woman, you don't have a voice. You have a voice. And if you haven't quite found your voice, Miss Sathya has the biggest voice for you. And I'm loud. So I'm going to stand up for you and continue standing up for you. And I'm going to help you find your voice. And I'm going to help you get to that safe haven, because you matter. Know that you matter. Whoever is listening that could be going through something, just know that you matter. Okay? Mm-hmm. If you feel like you don't have a voice, because you have one, you just haven't gotten that voice yet, and that's perfectly fine, because you have somebody like me, you have somebody like Deb that's going to speak up for you, and we speak loud. So and we speak loud. Um, Domestic violence is my passion. It is my passion. It is my passion. And I'll say it again. It's my passion.
Go
And
ahead.
I will fight to the very end,
Hmm?
because I feel like, let me take that back. I don't feel like, I know that one day domestic violence is going to come to an end. But guess what? It takes a village, and we all are a village, right? We're in that village, and it takes a village to stop it. So we have to do our due diligence to make sure that we continue bringing awareness, to make sure that we continue helping those families, those individuals, those families in that domestic violence community, help them to become self-sufficient, help them to get to a safe haven. It takes a village. It's not just one person. There's no way one person, one organization, one business is going to be able to do this alone, right?
Mm-mm.
It takes
Mm-mm.
a village, and we are the village. We got to stop competing, because that competition thing ain't working. That competition thing ain't working. We got to stop that, period. We have to stop. It's more about, we need to come together. This is how it's going to stop. We have to come together. Yes, you know your purpose. You know your purpose. You know your purpose. Okay, now we all know our purpose. Let's come together so that we can put a stop to this. But as long as we keep competing against one another and competing and sitting back seeing what everybody else is doing, how can you find out what your purpose is and walk in your purpose if, guess what, if you continue watching what Mary Jane and Sue over there is doing, you spending all that time watching what Mary Jane and Sue is doing instead of finding out what your purpose is. See, that's what you got to do. You got to find out what your purpose is and get to walking in it. Stop worrying about what Mary Jane and Sue over there is doing, because Mary Jane and Sue ain't worrying about you. That's why Mary Jane and Sue is keeping on, because they not looking back worried about you. So guess what? You got to stop worrying about them. Listen, find out your purpose and get to walking in your purpose so that we can go ahead and make a difference in this big community, because domestic violence is real. Right. It is very much real, and it happens every day. Just like people are giving birth every day, domestic violence is happening every day. So guess what? We don't have room for the competition. There's no room for it. There is no room whatsoever for competition. None. Zero, zilch. We don't have the time. We don't have the space. It has to stop, and it needs to stop now. Period. There's no in between. There's no and, buts, maybes, none of that.
From your perspective, when do you think is the best time to exit a relationship before it gets bad?
At the very beginning, first of all, let me just say this, and then I'm going to answer that, because this all goes together. When you get out of a domestic relationship, you got to give yourself time to heal. But a lot of us, we make that mistake, and I was one. We make that mistake of, oh, I need a rebound, or I'm gonna jump I'm gonna get out this toxic relationship, and I'm gonna jump right into another relationship, right? We haven't given ourselves time to heal. So guess what happens? Now you become toxic, because you brought all of that baggage over to your new relationship. So now you become toxic. So maybe now you don't trust your new partner, or you find it too good to be true that he's a good man or a good woman, right? So then you start having trust issues. Then you start accusing your partner of this and that, and he's cheating and all, or she's cheating, all of these things, all because you didn't give yourself time to heal. When you get out of a toxic relationship, you must give yourself time to completely heal before you get into another relationship. I tell everybody that. Do not jump into another relationship talking about you need a rebound. No, you don't need a rebound. You need time with you and God. You need time to find yourself again. That's what you need. You need time to self-love. You need time to date yourself. Self-care is the best care. Do not take yourself and get back into another relationship talking about you need to heal. Because speaking from experience, you become toxic. Yes, Miss Sathya did that. I jumped from a toxic relationship into another relationship, became a military wife, and he was a decent guy, okay? But because I was too busy I was trying to heal over here, but also trying to love and receive love. It don't go together. It don't go together. And then I was part of the reason why it didn't work out, because I became toxic. See, yeah. It was so hard for me to believe that somebody truly loved me and my children. You know, it was hard for me to believe that somebody wanted to see me happy because I was so used to dealing with this over here. Ladies and gents, I'm telling you, please, please, please give yourself time to heal. Date yourself. Take care, pamper yourself. But most importantly, have that close relationship with God. All of that is important. And you have to completely heal. Completely heal. And then when you do get to that point that you start wanting to date again, you set those standards. That's another thing we don't do. Listen, don't ask God for just a man or woman, because you're going to get just a man or woman.
Yeah.
See, you got to be specific in what you're asking for and set those standards. Don't set them too high that a person can't reach them, but don't set them things low either. Make sure that you set your standards, right? So that when you do get to that point, you can start dating. You'll already, okay, well, I went out on this date. Well, he missing one or two things. Listen, don't settle. If it's 10 things that you looking for or you not looking for, because ladies, we not supposed to be looking for our husbands. They're supposed to find us. But and it's true. But if it's 10 things that you desire in a partner and you're dating somebody and he has 8, do not settle for those other 2, because it could be those other 2 that cost your relationship. Okay? Don't settle. If it's 10 things that you desire in a partner, make sure that they have all 10 things, period.
But sometimes it don't work that way. Sometimes you may not get, we're not perfect. You may not get 100%. You may not get that 10%.
Sis,
for me, I feel if you're looking for 10% and you could get 6 to 7, you should be good. And then use because we're not perfect and then deal with the rest 2 or 3.
That is true. Nobody's perfect. However, we still have to set those standards, right? We still got to know what it is that we desire in a partner. Because if we don't set them standards, then we just going to be out there dating whoever. And that person might not be the person for us. You know, we're going to end up in possibly a toxic relationship because we're just dating whoever. We don't have no standards. We don't know what we want, what we desire. So we just going to date whomever, That's settling. We should not be settling, because when you settle, you end up unhappy. So you want to make sure that when you're dating, that whatever it is that you desire, that the person has what it is that you desire. Because like I said, if you settle, you're going to be unhappy. That settling is not good.
I'm thinking that if we desire 10 from anybody, be it the man or the woman, right? You could get up to 7, 6 to 7. You and hear me out. If you can get 6 to 7, right? At least 7, right? And if you're lucky enough, you get up to 8, and it's remaining just 2, right? Now, in many cases, right, you are chasing just 2. You already grabbed 8. You're just chasing 2. Now, these 2, that is the only thing left. You move to Mr. A. Mr. A has exactly that 2 that you were looking for, that is remaining. But the other 8 you got, Mr. A is losing 2 from it. Because we're perfect, it's hard to get your 100%. So what we might need to still do is tolerance. But this tolerance, if this 2% that is left is trying to ruin the 8%, that is when I would say, in my opinion, separate. So this 2%, if it's powerful enough to ruin this 8%, then there's a problem. Probably you didn't pay attention from the beginning that you never got up to 8.
What?
If this 2% is powerful enough to ruin this 8, that means you didn't do your examination and calculation very well. You meet it. You didn't pay attention. It wasn't up to 8. Because if it was up to 8, this 8 must surely suppress that 2%, that it shouldn't be a problem. Because we're imperfect. We can't get 10% from anybody. I'm as good as I am. I still know that you can't get 10% from me. There must be something missing. So those things missing from me might be perfect in you. You got that 200%, but there should be some of my 8% that 1 or 2 is missing in you. So that's why we may not get the 100% that time, anytime that we need it from anybody. But at the same time, the point that I'm trying to lay is, when is those best time to realize that, listen, I need to take my exit before I end in this, my life in this relationship. That is what matters.
You can, at the very beginning, when you start dating somebody, you can see, like you said, you got to pay attention though. You can observe and look and see that person's actions from just by you dating. Maybe the way they, some of the words that they use, or some of the words that they say, or maybe how they communicate with you. You can see aggressiveness. Some of that stuff can come out early. Some of it, but you have to pay attention. You got to look at the overall picture. I think we kind of look at the bigger picture instead of looking at the other stuff in between. And then we're missing that other stuff in between. If he's at the beginning, he's always wanting your time. He doesn't want you, going out with your mother, going out with your friends, or he doesn't want you having ladies' night out, something that you've always done. And now he's starting to try to stop you from doing that. He's okay, that might be a sign. That might be a sign, instead of him saying, oh, babe, go enjoy yourself. We'll go out Saturday. I know you used to going out with your friends on Friday. We'll go out Saturday. If he's at the beginning getting to the point where, well, I really don't want you going out Friday. Let's go out Friday. He start trying to take you away from your family, your friends. You can see that stuff from the beginning. That's a red flag.
That's a red flag.
That's a red flag.
Let me share this experience from what you're saying. Paying attention from the beginning is very important. Many people have made that mistake of not paying attention from the beginning. Either maybe subtract from one thing or the other, distracted you from focusing on the really important thing. But listen, the advice here for me, for you, for everybody is paying attention from the beginning is the key. But if you still miss it, please don't kill yourself there. Take exit, separation is allowed as long as you are alive somewhere. For yourself or for your family or for your children is the most important thing. So if you notice that the love is diminishing to the point that there is no mutual love anymore, don't take me, I shouldn't take you too. Don't take my life, I shouldn't take your life. So let's just separate. So this abuse thing of do or die affair, bros, if you don't want her, there must be other people that we tolerate. That
absolutely
you're tolerating. Let her go. Please, sis, if he don't want anymore, it's better you be alive somewhere. And you definitely will see someone that we not even notice that too, that was missing. That me and Satya was talking about. They're like, oh, is it this? Oh my goodness, that's nothing, honey. I love you like that.
Mm-hmm.
You see, so instead of fighting for that and using it to lose your life, causing a lot of havoc and domestic kind of things that are going on these days, is just too much. Yes. I want to tell you one story about me. There's this guy that I was supposed to marry. One of the reasons I just tactically removed myself was this. I used to be a very pretty girl. I don't know I was pretty then. That's one thing. I was discussing that with one lady last week. I don't know. The people tell me, hey, Debbie, this girl, she's so pretty, but I don't know that was that pretty then. So the man then that want to have relationship with me or marry me was always scared of losing me for another man. I don't even like misbehave. I've been a very decent girl from childhood, from growing up. I've always known my way, and I was well brought up in a Christian way. So this guy, you see, like I did my hair very nicely now, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't want that. He will want all those local timid hair that will make me not look sharp. He literally will come to me and want to pay for it so that he will make sure that it is that particular hair that I'm getting.
Oh, wow.
He's a degree holder. He's an engineer. So it's not like he's timid, he's educated. So he was doing that. I grew up to realize what he was doing was to manipulate me, and that will go on for the rest of my life with him. I've had some people who think that this girl, she is too pretty, she's too nice, men will always be chasing her. So they have that inferiority complex already to want to manipulate you or cage you in one way or the other. And they are going to be very creative ideas to want to do that on you.
It's true.
So most of those things don't just start all of a sudden. It doesn't just sprinkle like that. It started from the beginning, but maybe love or one thing or the other have distracted our mind and eyes from focusing on that real thing. You see what I mean? So when you're being called out, sometimes people might still be in love, either friends or something is making them misbehave or lose that love that they had from the beginning. That's okay. But please try to exit at the right time and don't make a mess of it. That's my own point. Don't make a mess of it. Don't start thinking of taking someone's life. Some men are very jealous.
Yes.
That not just men, but women. If I can't have you, no one else will.
No can. Yep. It's so true.
That thing has led so many people to death.
It's true.
But why won't you let go when you can have him in the right way? You don't want to have her in the right way. So why won't you separate? You might get it even better than you're using it now or you're having it now. So why kill each other for something that can be done separately in a very peaceful way? You might even still be having a close relationship. It didn't work. You don't have to take her life. You don't have to manipulate her. There's so many forms of abuse. There are some men that will abuse you to death without laying a finger on you.
So very true. It's so very true.
Laying a finger on you. There are so many women that abuse their men to death without laying a finger on them. And most of those people are so professional that even if they go to court or police, they will be the one winning while the victim is losing.
It's true.
So
it's very true.
There are so many people that they're in jail today because of marriage abuse, but they're not the victim. They are not the cause. The one roaming around the street is the victim, is the one who is at fault. So you don't have to get to that point. You don't have to destroy someone else just like that. Let go. Please. What's your point on that?
That is true. It all goes back to what I was saying about, the verbal, mental, and emotional abuse. That can cause more of an effect on a person than physical. And I'm going to say this too, the piggyback when you were talking about, just letting go of the relationship. If you're in a domestic abuse relationship, please don't let your perpetrator know that you're going to leave or you're planning to leave, because
Yeah.
the only thing they're going to do is use that as ammunition to keep you there. Not only will they use that as ammunition to keep you there, but they might end up becoming very, very, very aggressive, or they might end up trying to take your life, and it just might not turn out very good. So if you're wanting to leave or you're trying to leave, again, get access to a safety plan. All of that information is in a safety plan, but make sure that you tell someone you can trust, and do not let the perpetrator know that this, even if you have the idea, you're planning on it, you're deciding on, don't let the perpetrator know. Don't get into it and say, that's why I'm leaving you. I can't wait till I leave. Don't do any of that, because you've just opened up another can of worms by doing that.
Absolutely.
Don't let it be known this is what you're gonna do. You know, they say move in silence. You need to move in silence. Seriously. My best friend told him that she was leaving, and he took her life and his too. She told him that she was leaving. She had enough. That counseling wasn't gonna help anymore.
Oh, I'm losing your voice.
And she's not here today. So please, I beg you, I ask you, don't let the perpetrator know that's what your plans are. Move in silence. Move in silence.
Right. What services does your magazine provide that the public might want to know about?
Type of service? We offer a few things. Outside of sharing your story, you can, we offer ad space, of course. So if you have a business and you want to get your business seen, you know, you can always place an ad. We also, if you want, like, built to have your, if you're author or business owner, or you're a overcomer, you know, and you want to take it up a notch, and maybe you want to go on a billboard, you know, we do have connections with that as well. Also, when you're sharing in the magazine, you never know where your story is going to be read because I like to broaden the horizon, so to speak. Like right now, we're getting ready to go into like the prisons. So the magazine is going to be going in the prison. So your story, when you share your story, it's affecting the masses in the prisons as well. You know, so that's another thing too that's, you know, very, very important about the magazine, is that you're not just putting it in a magazine, but it's a vital resource. I've been told it's not a magazine, it's a vital resource, and it is a vital resource, you know, like Sis Deb said earlier, you know, that when she was speaking about the different ways that sharing your story in a magazine can help others. You know, it's true. It's not just a magazine, it's a vital resource. But those are just some of the things that we offer. We have 3 editions, and we're about to have 4. But if you're into, we have Scars of Survival Magazine Global, which comes out every month. We have Scars of Survival International. So Scars of Survival Magazine International is all those stories from survivors that are out the country. That means if you're in Africa, or you're in Peru or Panama or Jamaica or Pakistan, or, you know, all of the countries outside of the USA.
Can reach out anywhere.
Yes. And then we have Scars of Survival Magazine Fashion and Beauty. So that's for all of your models, you know, your photographers, anybody, your MUAs, anybody in the fashion and beauty industry, your designers, like beautiful Deb. That issue, that edition is for that. And then next year we're going to launch one for the LGBTQ community. So that edition will be for their community, right? So it'll be all of their stories. But we just want to make sure that people globally know that they have a safe place to share their story. when we started Scars of Survival magazine in June 2020, we focused on domestic abuse. And then after a couple of months, I started Scars of Survival magazine Circle of Love. In the Circle of Love, you have all of the stories outside of domestic violence. So you have breast cancer survivors, right? You have survivors of homelessness. You have survivors of teen pregnancy. You have survivors of wrongful convictions. All of the stories outside of domestic abuse is the Circle of Love is where those stories go. And I started that because not only did I experience homelessness at a young age, but I experienced being in foster care. I experienced being a teen mom. I had my first child at 14, right? I experienced losing my grandmother to breast cancer and losing my grandfather to prostate cancer. So all of those things are dear to me. And so that's why I wanted to start the Circle of Love. Because although domestic violence is my passion, that is my passion, but there's still a place in my heart for those other traumatic experiences that we survive, you know?
Where can someone reach you or contact you if they want to share their story? Because a lot of people are listening to you, and so many people that will still hear from you later or watch this video. How can they contact you to share their story, and how safe are they to keep their story with you?
Yes. So everything is confidential. I do have journalists that conduct the interviews. We have different ways you can share your story. You can always submit a story to us, but it has to, of course, be edited, right? It has to be an edited version, but you can always submit your story to us on your own. If you don't want to submit your story to us, then you can always reach out to us and we will do an interview. But just know that whatever you share is in confidence. It's confidential. And we don't publish anybody's story until you actually read that story. You have to read your article and approve it before we actually publish it. If sharing your story is something that you feel in your heart you want to do now, you can always go on our website, which is survivalmagazine.com. You can go on the website. There's a contact us page and you can submit your information, or you can reach us on Instagram or Facebook, which is Scars of Survival Magazine. I'm also on Facebook and Instagram. So you can, it's Sathya Calendar, Sathya, and then calendar, Callender. So those are the different ways that you can reach out. If you're interested in sharing your story, if you're in a domestic situation and you need help getting out, if you need some type of resources to help you become self-sufficient.
That's what I wanted to ask you when you finish. That do you have some help? Do you provide some help or advice? How do you help people? How does your magazine help them out? So go on.
Yes. So with Scars of Survival Incorporated, which the magazine is an umbrella of Scars of Survival Incorporated, but the organization is a nonprofit organization. So we help families in the domestic violence community to become self-sufficient. So if you're needing transportation to get maybe back to your family, if you're needing finances, if you're needing a support group, if you're needing clothes, if you're needing whatever it is that you need to help you become self-sufficient or to help you get to that safe haven, maybe you need shelter, even if it's not something that my organization offers, a service that we offer, we are connected to other organizations and businesses that can help with that service that you need. So again, feel free to reach out. Scars of Survival Incorporated has their own Instagram and Facebook as well. So feel free to go to their platform as well and leave a message. Someone will get back to you within 48 hours. Again, it's Scars of Survival Incorporated, Scars of Survival Magazine, or my personal platform, which is Sathya Calendar. So any of those platforms or the website, feel free to reach out and someone will get back to you within 48 hours. Another thing too, the National Domestic Violence Hotline. We are partnered with them. So if you are in a situation and you need resources, you can always call them as well. They are national, so that means wherever you are, they have the organization, our information. So how that would look is, you're in a situation, you need help, you don't know who to call, you call the National Domestic Violence Hotline. They will ask you, are you in a safe place? Do you need 911 call? They'll ask you those questions, for like probing questions. Then they'll say to you, what kind of services do you need? What exactly are you needing assistance with? Based on what you tell them, and where you're located, they'll look into their resource directory and they'll find the organization in your area that can help you. Scars of Survival Incorporated is one that's on the directory. You can also go on their website. You don't have to call them. You can go on their website, and the directory is on the website as well. And they have a list of all the organizations that are there. So you look and see if there's one in your area that can help you.
That has been a very amazing evening with you, sharing all of this whole experience and knowledge. Again, guys, if you need any type of help, Satya is there, and like she just told you people, she have Facebook, Instagram, and her website, everything Scar of Survival magazine, right? So
yes.
Reach out, Scar of Survival magazine, like the Scar Survival magazine. So you can reach out to her. She can connect you, she can hook you up. She's connected to a lot of programs, to a lot of organizations, apart from her own organization that she's using to help a lot of people. So please, we need to spread awareness.
Yes.
And then be alert. Know the right time before it results to a bloodshed or life lost. You need to act fast and do the right thing. Right now, we're talking about both the men and the women. Yes. We don't have to let it get messy. You don't have to shed blood. You don't have to take your life. You don't have to take her life or his life. Is it separate? That's fine. There's no harm in it. So please don't let it get to that point. But if yours is already at that junction, Satya is here to help you. Yes. At this point, I would say, Satya, it's been an honor hosting you tonight.
Yes, thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
And before we go, next week, Sunday, we are honoring this lady. And we are sharing her story there. I'm using this opportunity to invite you to come celebrate with her and join us. The Glamours this year is a different edition that you have not seen before. It's a total whole package, and we are sharing a very good news. I am good news, and we're sharing good news that day. If you look like me, don't miss to be there, because we have good news for you, and we have presents that you may have to go home with and keep it for someone to come see what you came back with. Please, see you out there, Satya. Thanks for being here. Love you. Bye.